Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 1, season 3 of Billy's Juice Plus podcast. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, any of that, hopefully you're hearing us the same way you always have. This is episode number 42. But if you're watching on YouTube, this is the first one, Sharon. Sharon, you are the first guest on YouTube, the Billy's Juice Plus podcast YouTube channel. So I'm thank you for being on, Sharon.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is
Well,
exciting.
yeah, I know it is. It's exciting because I know we're helping people, and I know your story. And by the way, out there, I'm going to just tell you right up front, and we'll get into this. But if you don't know who Sharon Hilgen is, the first thing I can tell you is she has personally mentored 4 people on her team to national marketing director or above, the top level in our company. Most people haven't gotten there, which is fine. Most people they haven't mentored one person. So I'm just saying that is a really big deal. So I am so excited to kick off season 3 with Sharon, but I'm going to read her bio first, as I do, and then Sharon will jump into the questions. So Sharon is a wife, mother, and grandmother. She lives in Southern California. She grew up in a little home in Orange County. She graduated from high school in 1977, went off to college, and you were going to be a nurse, but you changed to dental, and you've worked as a dental assistant RDA for 23 years. And you don't do that anymore. That you did do that for 23 years. Yes. She's been married to Michael since 1984. Wow, congratulations. So where are we? 84, 94, 2004.
37 years.
37 years. Good job. It does not look like it, Sharon. Does not look like that's possible. Okay, 84, 2 children. Megan is 33, Jake is 29, 3 beautiful grandkids. So we've got Hunter, Addison, and is it Evelyn?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Okay. Oh, I love that. Evelyn. Okay, so she loves life and she wants to help as many people as possible realize their dreams. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how you've been able to do that. But I want to start with, as we often do, how you heard about Juice Plus, who told you about it, why did you decide to try it, and what was your initial experience using the product?
Well, it was a pretty long time ago. I know I've been in this business for 22 years, but I was sitting there at my hairdresser's, just like I'm sitting in this chair right now. And I was I was looking at her display and she had Juice Plus all in the front. And I thought, didn't you just sell me some vitamins 2 months ago? Well, that was the kind of woman she was, but my hairdresser was an entrepreneur and she definitely got in on everything was out there. So long story short, I said yes to the product because at the time, I was 39 years old, but I didn't really, have like a lot of energy and a lot of, good things going on with me. I thought I was eating healthy, but I took the Juice Plus and I took it home. And the first thing that my husband said was, "What did you buy now?" And I said, "Well, I think this is going to be good for us because it's healthy. It's fruits and vegetables. I don't eat any of these, so I think this is going to be really good." Excuse me. So long story short, it definitely took us about, I'd say, a month or 2 into it. I started taking it, giving the gummies to my children. My headaches dissipated, which was a big deal for me. I suffered with migraine headaches, and I didn't correlate it with the nutrition part of it. I didn't think of anything of the food that would be causing it. And then I also had adult acne and constipation, which a lot of people don't like to talk about, but it's a true thing that as you just go through life. And when I saw those things happening to me, I thought, could this be the Juice Plus? Well, long and behold, I went out there like I would always. And I told a lot of people, I said, "Oh my goodness, you got to try this stuff. It's just fruits and vegetables, but this is what's happening to me." So I probably gave 20 people to my gal that sold it to me. Her name was Laura. And she came back to me and she said, "There's a business behind this." And I said, "Oh, no, I don't do those kind of things." And she asked about 5 more times. And then I thought about it and I prayed about it because I was actually at the time wanting something to stay home with, because both my children were in a private school. We needed the money. And I thought, what if I could make an extra $500? That's all I was hoping for and even going for. And I said yes, because I thought, what if I could stay home with my children? So that was the beginning of my Juice Plus journey.
I love it. And I know that with Juice Plus, like you said, you started getting more fruits and vegetables in your body. And it is true, a healthier lifestyle, adding Juice Plus, bridging that gap. I mean, God made people and God made plants, and he made plants to heal people. So we need plants, and it can really make a difference. So like you said, you became a partner just 2 months later. You wanted to do that to kind of maybe help pay some bills. I know that you told me, though, when we talked, your words were you were scared to death. You wondered if you could even do it. So I'm curious, if you were that scared, but obviously you had a desire, you had a why. What were those first 6 months like? How did you get started? Yeah, how did you find some success right up front, even though it was so scary? And you also said this is not for me.
Right. And it wasn't, I didn't think it was for me because I was not that type of, honestly, I hated salespeople. I didn't like to buy a car. I didn't like to do anything like that. But you're right. I was scared to death. So I honestly was ignorance on fire. Back then, I got on the phone and I just went through my address book, and I just started calling people. Now I didn't say, hey, I'm selling Juice Plus. I just said, I started a conversation. And in those conversations, sometimes what happened was, so what have you been doing, Sharon? And it was a perfect opportunity for me to let them know, hey, I just started my own business. I want to let you know what it's all about. And most of them said, send me information or just sign me up. So in those types of situations, I loved it because I was on the phone. They heard my passion. I was shaking at the bits, just going, oh, okay, because I've never been a salesperson. And honestly, I don't feel like we are still. I think we share a product that's, a gift. And so when I was starting my business in the first 6 months, I got excited because my dad was my first customer. And he said, anything you do, honey, I'll support you. And I thought, how sweet is that, right? I know a lot of parents just don't do that with their children, but my dad did. And my first paycheck was $60, but I got excited about that. I got excited because I thought, oh, I made some money. I still was working in a dental office. And then each check got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then my husband said, huh, this might be working. I said, I think it is. So I think the first 6 months, I finally got up to like $500 a month, and that's residual income. So that's $500 every month. And I thought, wow. And basically I said, this is going to help pay for, and my biggest why was to help pay for my kids' private school. And that's exactly what it was. It was $500. So I felt like the Lord was leading me in this way because I had always been praying, Lord, help me to find something to stay home with my children, because they were going to go to school, but I didn't want them in after daycare. So this was a perfect opportunity. And then from there, I set another goal, and I set it to 1,000. And so I just kept talking to people, kept doing my, what they called way back when was healthy living presentations in your home. And the fun part is we just would gather people, we would invite them and say, hey, what do you feel like your health is, worth, or where do you see your health on a scale of 1 to 10? And most people would say 5 or 6. I said, oh, you need to come see what I'm doing. So that's how it started. In the first 6 months, I got to sales coordinator. And that was a big thrill to me because honestly, I never graduated from college. So this was a big deal that I did something and I accomplished something.
Oh, you've accomplished a lot. And I love that question. I think everybody needs to put that in their back pocket. Where do you see your health on a scale of 1 to 10? I often ask people, how many fruits and vegetables have you eaten today? But I think that one's even better because it just goes to the core of like, do you
Right.
feel healthy? Where are you at? If you're not 8, 9, or 10, then what if I had something really simple that I could give you that could at least make a difference in some way? So really interesting. And I love that you told this story because you talk about calling people, even though you were shaking a little. And I think we heard the why that gave you enough motivation to call people. I mean, you believe in the product, but you also really saw this could make a difference financially and allow, your kids to stay in something that you want them to stay in. But you told me that and we don't usually hear this because we got social media now, we've got like technology now. But you said you actually think in some ways it's harder today to build a Juice Plus business than it was 22 years ago. I love your reasoning for this. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, a lot of people are into social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that. Well, as somebody in their 60s, that was really hard for me technology wise. And when I came into this business, even back 22 years ago, I never used a computer. I never used a fax machine. I never did any of that. So this was all foreign to me. But I learned to do everything as I grew in my business. And I think that's what, a lot of people don't realize is you can easily teach someone and learn something. But what I love to go back to is the old fashioned telephone. We still have one, and even a cell phone, right? I love to call people because they hear my passion. And I still do that today and try to teach that even to the younger generation of let's get on the phone. But the younger generation has no idea what it is to have a conversation. So they're like, like if somebody calls me, it's an emergency, and I'm like going, oh, no, 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 no. We just want to talk. But again, it's a different generation. So I feel like we can still do this business, but again, you can do it in all different avenues. You can get on the phone, you can get on your iPhone, do Facebook, do Instagram, do TikTok, all of that, and it still works. But I tend to just get on the phone and talk to people because they actually love me calling them, but they actually love the conversation that we have.
Well, and you're being very gracious, I think, and kind, and you gave a very balanced answer. But I really love, though, that when we talked before, that you said, listen, where we've gotten to is that people, as you just kind of said, aren't really talking anymore. They're connecting, but it's not the depth of connection anymore because we can't hear each other's voices, we can't see each other, all this kind of stuff. And so you're still doing it today. And the way you've always built your business is I'm going to dynamically live, you're going to hear my voice and engage with you. And I think what's harder now, it's not really hard, right? But we say harder because we've got excuses not to engage with people. But that's the only, if this business isn't about sales and it's about relationships, how do we build really real relationships without talking to people? What would do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I still believe that we can build a relationship with technology, but I do believe that the old fashioned way is picking up that phone and really talking to someone, because I've over the years, I've gotten a lot of referrals and people have said, oh, call Sharon, she'll set you up. But when I talk to these people, I'm always asking them questions now because I learned that you want to really get to know that person before, it could be a fit or not a fit for our product or our business. But when I talk to them, they really feel like they're cared for. And you can't get that connection with an iPhone or a text message or anything like that. So I really feel that the old-fashioned way worked really well, but for the younger generation, the way they communicate is different. But I do see them building a business or selling the product in a different way than we did 22 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to hopefully help some of those customers become team members, a relationship and trust is going to have to be
Yes.
built. So getting together, talking on the phone, that really helps. So as I mentioned in the beginning, you've directly mentored four people to get the top position in the juice company. I wrote down right here, I've written down the question. It's incredible. People need to understand that we have top leaders in this company who are extraordinary, but they've never even helped one person get to the top. I don't have an NMD on my team personally. I've got people who are going to get to NMD for sure if you're
Yes,
listening
yes.
out there. But you've helped four. I mean, that is very unique. I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about, your four NMDs. And I think it's one is no longer with us, but
Yes,
yeah, we can just
yes.
honor her even by kind of mentioning her and what made each of them unique, what each of their whys were. You don't have to tell us each one's whole story, but just give us a little bit about each one and what was key to each of their journeys.
Okay. Well, my first one, I actually got to national marketing director in 2005. I met my first gal that actually was on my team. Her name was Lori Anderson. She came along in 2001, and she just got the whole concept in one, pretty much one HLP, that actually Smokey Santillo, or the creator, was at Saddleback Church. And she said, oh my goodness, I have to get everyone on this. So Lori, it was such a special woman anyways, but she literally signed up 5 people. And I'm telling you, Billy, this was the incredible thing from the Lord. 5 people, and all 5 got to sales coordinator. And that's all you need, right, to get to national marketing director. And I was like, how come, what? I mean, she was incredible anyways, but she wasn't like my friend at first. We went to the same school, our kids went to the same school, and she became my friend through this company, but I did not know her at all. So there's stranger number 1. Then from Lori's line, excuse me, she had a friend here in California, that the friend had 2 nieces in Oregon. And one of those nieces obviously signed up, and then the other niece signed up. And then she found my other national marketing director, Jamie Herb, who just actually recently just made national marketing director. So I was really proud of her. But that's how that happened. So that's my 4th generation. But I, got a hold of her after Lori passed away, and then started helping her back in 2014. And she, just kept going and going and going. And consistency is the key right here. And she never gave up. And we have done different things to get her there, but we just were consistent on HLPs, always going to conference, always doing an HLP every week. And she got there. My other national marketing director, Kimberly Williams, got there in 2013. First Lori at 2012, then Kimberly Williams 2013. She got there actually through Tower Gardens. That was the thing back then, and still is, but we always say got to do both. So she got there, and she just recently went to another company, which is totally fine. I mean, you got to let people do what they need to do. And then another gal came into my world in 2014, named Sherry Stabile. Now, Sherry was a shy introvert. I mean, I'm telling you, I had to kind of like reach in and ask her questions. And when I did, I found her why. And her why was all about helping sex trafficking. So I got her connected with some gal, actually through Juice Plus, Catherine Lee. And that just set the whole game for Sherry. And each time when Sherry, was doing her business, and it only took Sherry 2 years to get to national marketing director. This girl was, I was like, wow, I've never had anybody go so fast, right? But we set up a wellness presentation every Friday night. No matter how many people showed up, sometimes we get 30, sometimes we get 1, but it was consistent for 2 years. And I even had to say, my goodness, I've never worked so hard in my life. But when somebody wants it, I'm right there for them. And so Sherry got there in 2 years. Sherry became a national marketing director, 24 Club, all of that. And I was like amazed at this woman. But Sherry started out, she was 34 years old. And now today, she's 40, 41. And she's incredible. So young mom doing her business, but it was all on social media too. So she went on social media, put up a picture of the Juice Plus, and got 25 new customers in the first month. I was like, whoa, this is great. So again, each one individually were all different. Lori came from my school. Kimberly came from Lori's line. In fact, Lori's line, if Lori was still here, Lori actually produced two national marketing directors, Kimberly and Jamie Herb. And then Sherry came out of my networking group, which I'll talk about. But Sherry came out of my networking group from a personal trainer. So that's how I met Sherry, but she wasn't my first generation. She was my third generation.
Well, one thing that I think maybe gives hope to everybody listening is, as I hear it, none of these people were people, for example, before you started this business that you knew or were good friends with. Even when they began, none of them had become good friends. I think, you know, God just kind of brought them along, and then you were there to be faithful to what He had given you to kind of steward. So that's one. And then the other thing that I heard, and we're going to talk about this, is even though Sherry Sabile, you know, you said she did all the social media, she posted, she got these customers, but you also said for 2 years, she did every week, whether people showed up or not, in person. So you can leverage social media and the technology to absolutely make an impact. But if it sounds like, it feels like, this is not true for everybody, everybody's different. But for the most part, you're probably saying, if you're only doing social media, if you're not willing to be bold enough to kind of get face to face, you know, invite and they don't come, make a call and it's a little awkward and shaky, then you might run into a roadblock.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so what I want to talk about is the three things, and we've just been highlighting use your voice as one of the three things. So use your voice. These are the three things I think that we talked about that you said you would say are key if you want to get to national marketing director, or maybe, you know, even in any leadership position in the company. Use your voice. We've already kind of mentioned that. Two, you've mentioned, but I want you to talk about being a networking group. And three, attend. You've also mentioned attend weekly events. So just kind of explain each of those. I guess we've already explained voice, but you can explain networking group. You can explain a little bit more about those weekly events, and then why each of those are so important.
Okay. So I actually joined a network marketing group as I was growing into my Juice Plus business in 2003, I think it was. And the first group I joined, and I think I told you, was called Le Tip. Now, there's groups out there that when I was talking to Billy, there's so many of them that you have to find your niche. You have to find your people. And what I mean by that is, you can go into a whole lot of groups and they don't seem, you know, like connected with you. So you got to find that. Anyways, I was in a Le Tip group that didn't work. I was in a BNI, which BNI, some of them are really good out there. So don't just mark that. But that was not the kind of group that I should have been in. I got invited to now almost like somebody that just started their own group, but it was not in any of the professional other stuff. And it was called PEN, P-E-N, Professional Exchange Networking. I've been in this group for now, I think 12 years. And this is the group that I will stay with probably forever. They're like family now. And we all refer people to each other, which I love. And then I actually told each and every one of my girls that come into this business that you need to join a networking group. Doesn't matter what it is or where, you know, at least it meets weekly. Why is it important? Is because you're going to get to know these people, they'll get to know you, and then they're kind of like a voice for you for referrals. And that's the biggest key. Now, most of the referrals are customers, but I have to tell you that sometimes when you are in a networking group, the people that even have their own businesses will join you. And that's the key right there, because I've had people where they've had their own businesses on the side, but they liked what we had to offer. So one of them was, I call him a diamond in the rough, was a personal trainer. And she came into our group, and it took almost 9 months for her to get on my product. Once she got on the product, she was like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? And then I said, well, great. I know you love it now. You need to tell your clients. One of those clients was Sherry Stabile. Sat down there, had a wellness presentation, and there was only 5 people in the room, which was like, I thought kind of cool. And all 5 of them ordered. And then we talked to Sherry about the business. And we talked to everyone about the business. There are actually 2 or 3 people signed up as the business, but they didn't do anything, but Sherry did. And as I sat down with her, I got to know her why. And then we went from there. And consistently with Sherry, she first went on social media because she knew how to do that. I had no clue. And then every Friday at her home or my home, we did a wellness presentation and then an opportunity for the business every single Friday. This girl wanted it because she had kind of similar background to myself, as her husband was in and out of jobs and she had no insurance. And this really kind of like lit her fire, going, what if I can do this? And she was very much of an entrepreneur before that. She was an Etsy shop. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but she made her own baby clothes. She was a hairdresser. She was a lot of different things, but she loved Juice Plus and what it had done for her. And that's why she got so excited about it. So when she did this business like no other I've seen, she got to the first, sales coordinator in 2 months. Then she got to what we call senior sales coordinator in 6 months. I mean, this girl was just going boom, boom, boom. And she didn't know any different. She just kept going. And I said, oh my gosh, you're at the next level. So every single literally conference that we had, Billy, she got a promotion. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was exciting and it was a thrill of my life. But, Sherry's now in Texas. So we, obviously don't live next to each other, but she's now growing a business in Texas.
Yeah,
So,
that's exciting. And
yeah.
and that came from the networking group. And
Yes.
as you said, for 2 years, she built it doing the weekly events. So I want to spend the last few questions on networking groups and weekly events. So I'm sure you've heard it. And I loved our conversation where you said, hey, listen, if someone says they can't do it or they don't want to do it, then I don't push them, but you also kind of hold your line, right? And you go, but if you want to go for it, this is how I know to get you there. So what do you say to the people who say, an event every week, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's in person because of the current situation we're in? And what if somebody says, I can't get somebody there every week? There's no reason to have an event every week. I can't do an event every week. I feel like I'm wasting my time. And I also feel like I'm just going to be asking the same people over and over. And they're going to just keep saying, why do you keep asking me? What about the person who just says, I don't know how I could have an event every week and I'm willing to do it if I can get people there. I just can't get people there. What do you say?
Right. Well, I mean, we all have those in our business. We all have those kind of people that the half glass full. I always say to them, I started the same way as you started. The average person knows about 200 people, average. So like somebody that's, an entrepreneur or somebody that's out there in doing things knows a lot more people. So I always have them write names down. I've always, put that on the radar as they first start out. When we get rid of or done with that list, I say, this is, if you really want this business to happen for you, you have to, what my personally thing is go join a networking group, because that's new people. If they say, no, I don't want to do that, then I say, well, actually, then you don't want to become a national marketing director. I mean, I literally put it out there because a lot of them hesitated. Jamie hesitated. Sherry never actually joined a networking group, so she just did it by herself. But she was involved in churches and her Bible study group. So you got lots of people there. Then when they finally joined the networking groups, that's when their business started going. And they invited people. And this is what happens in networking groups, just like it happened with me, is you're going to get customers, but from those customers, they're going to say, well, Sarah's mom is doing this, this, and that, but you should talk to her because she might be interested in the business. That's how you grow your business. But if you're sitting at home and just let's say you have a regular job, there's the people at your work. but they don't know what you do because you obviously can't, talk about it at work. But I used to do this. And some of the dentists, got mad at me, but some of them, there's a story behind that too. But I used to, talk to people, but then I would, be kind and courteous about, if you'd like to know more, could I get your phone number and I'll call you after I get off work? Because I didn't want to be, not courteous to the dentist who was paying me hourly. But I also did this, and a couple of the dentists said, Sharon, I don't think your heart's in it anymore, so we're going to let you go. So I got fired twice. But what that did for me is put a fire underneath me more to know that I wanted to do this Juice Plus business than being a dental assistant all my life. And that's my little background story of getting fired twice because my passion wasn't there anymore. And then just saying, you know what? I go back to the dentist that actually fired me the last one, and I actually thank him. And I still go to him to get my teeth cleaned. And I actually thank him, and he laughs and he goes, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. And I go, no, don't be sorry. You were the reason I got to National Marketing Director, because when I got fired for the second time, I said, I'm done. So that was a really good kick in the, behind for me to do more of the Juice Plus business than to sit there and make a paycheck, and a weekly paycheck with my dental job. So I really, had that fire underneath me, and that's what happened when I got fired.
Yeah, I love all that, and actually heard a lot of really good nuggets. And so, one we've heard over and over with all four of your national marketing directors, and you just said with you, you do have to find your why. And most people who are listening to this podcast is because they're serious enough about their business. Most of them, maybe you're also new, and that's fine. But so we know that why is important. But even though we know why is important, I don't know how many of us, push ourselves to a why that is strong enough to get us over the hump. We go, no, I really do want this. I'm here doing work every day. I just posted on social media. Why is nobody calling me? All this kind of stuff. But if you don't have a why, they say if you don't have a why, that makes you cry, right? If you don't have a why that gives you enough fire, right? You got to find it. If you don't find it, then you're not going to have enough of a motivation to go out there and meet those people. And the other thing that I heard was you said, listen, I mean, bottom line, what you're saying, Sharon, like even if you're being awesome and really supportive of social media and technology, is you are saying if you want to get national marketing director, you're going to have to find a way to talk to people with your voice on the phone or in person every week. And you're saying in person. Now obviously in our current situation that's a little harder, but generally for 22 years it's been in person. Now people say, what if I can't get people there? What if I run out of people? And that's where you're saying you have to find either a networking group, which has been your solution, or something else where you are tapping into other people's networks, you are building relationships. I heard one person say, a big time person in the network marketing industry said, here's my secret. You'll never out-friend me. You'll never out-friend me, right?
Mhm.
So I'm curious, we've got a person out there who says, I work hard every day, right? That's what they say. And they do. They work hard every day. They post on social media, they talk to people, etc. They're a young mom. They've got a bunch of little kids, so they're super, super busy. And they say, networking group, man, that sounds like it takes time. Sounds like I got to go. I don't know who's going to watch my kids. On top of that, I've also got to host, some people in my home or somewhere every single week. And I know you've told me also have some kind of team meeting every week to find out who the workers are. That's 3 meetings a week. Ooh, this sounds like a lot more than just posting on social media and making some calls, while I'm on the go. What do you say to that person?
Well, when I first started, I remember listening to Jennifer Myers, and she had said, because, we all started off with young children in this business, right? Mine were 6 and 10, a little bit older. But when you have the babies or you have the smaller children, the toddlers and all that, Jennifer used to say, invite them all, invite the moms, invite the kids, invite everyone to your home. And then what she did was brilliant. She took, a lot of distributors came and they all shared the opportunity. Some of them took the kids in another room and read them books. And then the moms were out in the living room getting educated with our opportunity with our being a customer or a distributor. So there's all sorts of different ways of doing our business, which that's what makes us different. It's not just social media, it's everything. And like you said, before the lockdown, now everybody's kind of coming back out, but before that, we would just say to those kind of people that say, well, I've gone through my list, I've done this, I've done this. And I would have to say to them, actually, you haven't. Actually, there's so much more that you can, but it's up to you, because I can't be you and I can't push you. So you either have to make a decision of being consistent. Like I always talk about this. If you owned a store and you did not open those doors, what would happen, right? You wouldn't make any money. So even the moms out there that have 3 or 4 or even 5 kids, we've known people in our Juice Plus business that is very successful with that. And they've gone to national marketing director because what they did is they, set aside maybe a half hour a day. Maybe that's it. That's all they could do. But in that half hour, they had either children napping or just put on a little video. And you always can make things work. And I've heard it and I've seen it and I've done it myself, where I used to put my kids in front of a little video for a half hour just so I could make calls. That's all I did. And that's all I could do. And so those little tiny moments that you can just kind of do yourself. And that's what we teach the young moms. And because of social media, they can just do, maybe a Facebook or an Instagram in 5 minutes. That's it. And that's all you have to do. Now, face to face, they can get together with all their little ones, go to the park. Sherry used to take all of the moms, the young moms with the kids. The kids would be, playing in the park, and she would have them on a bench, and then she would be doing a wellness presentation right there at the park. So there's so many different things. I always say to people, if it's not a networking group, like, physically meeting, go hiking, meet up people that go dancing, meet up people that do a book club. There's all sorts of different things that we can be creative with. And I always say there's so many opportunities out there you're missing out, but it's up to you to do anything, because I'm not going to make you do it. But somebody's always said to me, if it's, if you want something, you have to do it yourself. So personal growth and all of that, and which we can go into later on, but personal growth is where it's at, because if you want to be someone or get to the top, there's definitely personal growth as you get there. So again, it's a scary thing. I went to these groups and I was shaking. My first time I went, I was like, yeah, I sell Juice Plus. Yeah, and it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I was like, I didn't know what to say. But as you go and you keep going, you get better at things. So I always say, just try it, see if you like it.
Yeah, that's really good. I think we keep hearing the theme, which sounds so simple, but if anybody not if anybody out there is stuck, plenty of people out there feel stuck. And I think it really does come back to the basics of God has called us to help families improve their health, right, and improve their finances, right? And if the current group of people that we know, if our current network, as we call it, does not currently have somebody who is ready for either one of those opportunities, well, then you can either stop there and go, just keep asking the same people and kind of banging your head into a wall. Or what you're saying is you have to expand your network. You have to find a way to expand your network. Last question, because I really heard when we did the pre-recording, I think we're hearing it now, but I want to make sure we really hit on this: networking groups. That is something, there's people who have ITC. I'm too cool to share Juice Plus, but if I'm not too cool to share Juice Plus, I'm at least too cool to go to a networking group.
Yes.
Right. And because I've been in network groups before, I told you that like 8 years ago. Because of this, I'm gonna now go back to join one when it's a little bit safer too. But anyway, I'm definitely gonna do this. I'm committing to you right now, and to everybody out there in podcast land. But when I first went, Yeah, I was just probably way too judgmental and thought I was too cool. But sometimes it felt a little salesy, a little slick, a little bit, everybody was kind of, I mean, I got my t-shirt on here, right? Everybody was kind of dressed up and handing out the business cards. I was like, I don't have a business card, and it just felt, maybe it felt a little transactional too to me. I don't know. Maybe I was just too cool, in the bad way. But what do you say to the person that's like, okay, I hear you, Sharon. Yeah, I need to go meet some more people, but I'm not even like, networking group, that's going in one ear and out the other because it's just a hard no. And if you said to somebody, like if you were put in charge of all Juice Plus distributors, partners, okay, for like a year, right? Yeah, I'm not saying you want that, but if you were, then Sharon's way would be we're all going networking groups.
Networking.
We're all
Yeah.
going networking groups. So tell everybody like why that should not be a big deal, why I'm wrong, how you find your right one, and why the answer is not just find people, it's find people through a networking group.
Sorry. Okay, so the biggest thing is when I tell people about networking groups is you do have to find something that fits with you. You do have to find what they call is it like a group of people that you're going to network with, but they're going to help you because you can help them. Sorry. And, they definitely will like let's say I'm in a group with a chiropractor and I'm in a group with even a nutritionist and I'm in a group with a physical trainer. All of those are kind of like the nice ones that you can actually connect with more because you'll have a lawyer, you'll have a car sales or not car insurance. There's a big group of everybody there. But the ones that you connect with the most is like your smaller division, but you got this whole group of people that are maybe 40 or 50 of them in this group. Now, all of them are going to hear you each week. And all of them are going to say, gosh, after weeks of hearing Sharon, I'm convinced that I need this fruits and vegetables. But it's personally for you also, because you'll get in front of a group of people. And this really helped me go out there and talk more to people. It got me not so shy. It then helped me grow my business. And from there, I used to do what they call corporate, what do they call corporate?
Well, the wellness presentations or something.
Yeah, not wellness presentations, but we used to go to corporate buildings and they used to have a health expo. So I'm sorry. So I used to go out and also do that. So I'd have a table 4 times a month at different corporations that put on health expos. It was really kind of cool. And that's where I grew my business. That's where I found people. But I was kind of one of those people, and I always say to this, I was very shy. I was not, like one of those people that just, oh yeah, I'll do that. It took guts. It was the scariest thing that I was telling you about. But I knew that when I did this or got involved in this, that my business would grow. Otherwise, like you said, you go through your list of people, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your friends, whatever. Those are not the people that you're going to actually have in your business. It's the strangers that you meet outside in a group that you've never known before that are going to be your sales coordinators and above that are going to do this business.
Oh, this is so good. Like I title every podcast, so Sharon Hilgen on something. And I think this is going to be Sharon Hilgen on expanding your network. Because at the end of the day, when you have someone who's at SE, QSSC, SSC, even Q, any of those things, even NMD, and you want to go bigger, it's like, well, if you want to grow, yes, you have to personally grow, sure. You need to help your team grow, sure. But at the end of the day, you got to expand beyond the network of people you currently know.
Right.
And if you're not willing to do what it takes to expand your network, it's just not going to grow. It might grow a little bit, and you might get lucky one day, in a little way, but you're not going to mentor 4 people to national marketing director.
No.
Last word. I'll give you the last word.
Well, I mean, I want to encourage everyone to really listen to what I had to say, because I can tell you story after story of the ones who hesitated, but then finally got into a networking group. And she's my age. So it doesn't matter what age you are. She's my age. And because she went into a networking group, she's now a senior sales coordinator on her way to Q NMD. And I just look at her and going, wow, she did it because obviously I encouraged her to do this, but she has gotten referrals from the group and their moms and dads, and they said, oh, my daughter would love to do this. That's how she's growing her business. So again, if it takes you a while to find a good group, I want you to just keep on trying, because it might not be, like I said, a networking group that you meet weekly. It might be a walking group. It might be a hiking group. It might be a crocheting group, whatever you like to do. Get involved with other people. It could be your Bible study. I don't go to Bible studies just because I want to, recruit. I go to Bible studies because I love Bible studies, but you get to know these people, they get to know you, and then that's what happens. They say, what is this Juice Plus? So again, it's all the people that I've met through these, 22 years that I've been doing this. And that's the way you build your business, because you can't sit at home thinking, I hope somebody calls me today. That's not going to happen. So I want to encourage people to go out and network. And that's how I built my business.
Expand your network. And I want to end so clear, because you're being really gracious and saying, okay, yeah, you can expand your network in multiple ways, Bible studies, etc. But I know that you say to your people who want to be an MD, hey, you can go to a Bible study, that's fine, but you got to go to a networking group too.
Yes.
You got to do a networking group, because everybody there, if you find the right one, they're good. They're intentional about networking, and we are network marketers. So we've got to expand the network. We've got to expand the network. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being episode 1 of season 3 and for sharing this incredible wisdom.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure being here.